Welcome, Capricorn, to your Aries New Moon 1 month deep dive forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Each lunation has its own unique identity. We can talk broadly about new moons as being a good time to set our intentions. We can also talk about the host Aries as being about initiation and passion. But what does it mean for you uniquely? I'm going to share your event chart from a Capricornian perspective, the exact moment of the new moon, and all the planetary influences feeding in, providing a backdrop for the next 4 weeks. By the end of the video, you'll have a clear understanding of what you can expect around energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. Please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So on the screen, Capricorn is the event chart. Now you can see we've got this huge, absolutely rare stellium, as it's known, in the sign of Aries. And it includes your ruler, Saturn. And Saturn's going to be in this fourth house for the next 2 years, pretty well exactly, to the end of April 28. But the sun and the moon in a new moon are unified. They're working collaboratively. The moon loves being in the fourth house, if not quite so much in the fiery Aries, but the sun is exalted in Aries, so it's its second favorite location after Leo, which it rules. So they come together once every 28 days, and we can set our intentions, but this one is unique, not just because of this Aries stellium, but because of Chiron. For the first time in 4 years, the new moon is in conjunction with the so-called wounded healer, but it's going to be the last time for 50 years. Chiron has a rather unusual orbit. It actually spends a lot of time in the sign of Aries, the most of any other zodiac sign. But it's going to be leaving to move into your fellow Earth sign Taurus in the middle of June for 4 months, and it will come back after retrograding back into Aries, back into Taurus next April. And that's something really exciting for you to look forwards to. Uh, it really is. And particularly as later next year, Jupiter will move into Virgo. So you're going to have a lot of positive Earth energy manifesting. But what you get straight away with Chiron in the fourth house, and you may not have it in the fourth house, and you may not have it natally, and you may not have it in Aries, but collectively for Capricorns at the moment, this is asking you to think about anything that hurts around your home, where you live, the environment, your family, your emotional world, but most of all, perhaps your childhood. If there is still some painful echoes working their way through you, the next month does give you a chance to review and to release. Chiron is complex. You know, in mythology, this was the life coach, if you like, very much to do with training the gods to fight, but also teaching them about herbalism and astronomy stroke astrology, all one and the same thing. Hugely wise. And then got the wound which would never heal. And I think Chiron in the fourth house, particularly conjunct the moon in the natal chart, is probably one of the most sensitive connections you can have in astrology, truly. Um, so if there is something raw, you're not really enjoying the physical space you occupy at the moment, the atmosphere of where you work. If you feel there are undertones in family life that are not being resolved, if you feel inhibited, if you've got things from your past that have created such a lot of pain, they're still very active within you, which can be true for many of us. And I think we hold emotions in our organs, and particularly in terms of fourth house energy, the tummy, if we're upset, um, we kind of tense in the tummy. If we're angry, we vent our spleen. Where do these old sayings come from? It's because the ancients were much more in touch with the physical side of life than we're in touch with technology. So you get my drift. And because Saturn can obviously be a rather cautious influence, and it's in its full in the sign of Aries. It's asking you not to rush into anything you're doing, but with Mars in the mix, and they come into an exact conjunction on the 19th for the first time, 28 years in Aries, you could feel a little bit up and down. Mars in the fourth house can be quite prickly and defensive. And then Neptune could see you very much more sensitive than you've been used to in the past. You may have started to experience it last year for 6 months from the end of March. And Mercury is better in Aries than it was in Pisces. That wouldn't be hard. What a torturous 10 weeks that was. It's just arrived in Aries, can bring thrust, can bring a desire to speak, but emotions is trickier for Mercury, which prefers detachment, coolness, and logic. So it's quite a complex set of energies, and it's right at the root of your chart, right at the bottom of the southern hemisphere. And any planet which is closest to an angle, and in this whole sign illustration, it's Neptune, is likely to be very potent. So if you do feel that whenever you try to discuss something that someone's dismissive or brusque or accuses you of being oversensitive or it's all in your imagination, these are all the narratives of Neptune on that fourth house cusp. Or someone is closing you down by being cool and detached, Saturn in the fourth house. Or someone is very suddenly, unexpectedly very, very fierce in terms of trying to push away how you feel, Mars. So you can see this can be a time of tenderness, but it can be a time of transformation because that's what new moons are about. And also Chiron can be about. But also know if you're a very caring, compassionate person and you're very skilled at listening, don't be surprised if you have got a lot of maybe fourth, 12th, eighth house energy in your chart, but you have could have Chiron in those houses too. You may have it in Pisces, Cancer, and so on. So it can be very caring, and that can be a great strength, but it's not a great strength if it's all give and no get. So one of the great things about this particular lunation is if someone is taking your support for granted, it may be an older relative, it may be a youngster, it may be someone at work who has got a lot of issues and just seems fit to pour it out to you all of the time without even saying, "How are you?" That is something that uniquely the combination of Mars and Saturn gives you a bit more rugged ability to push back. So when we heal or try to heal or try to support, we must look to our own needs first. But if we do widen the lens, Pluto, the transformer in the second house, can be about your values as much as money, is in a stunning alliance with Mars. If you're wanting to reform where you live through using passion and drive and determination, and you're making some physical changes to the structure of your home, you can get things done. If people are unreliable, that you're dependent on contractors, though, uh, they better know that you're probably going to tell them. Neptune suggests you use a little bit of grace in the process. But equally, if there is a repeating pattern in your situation where you don't rate yourself, you're not validating yourself, you're not celebrating, perhaps not having an easy life and creating the context that compared to other people, you're amazing. My analogy for this kind of stuff is who is braver in the marathon? Is it the elite runners who do it just over 2 hours? Or is it the people who struggle around in 8, 10, 12 hours, perhaps in some kind of dress suit to raise money for charity, or perhaps because they have got some kind of limitation? Who is actually exerting more energy, endurance, and toughness, really? So if you haven't had it easy, make sure you're celebrating your stoicness, which is a brilliant Capricornian quality, that you do stick in there and probably hold it together for a lot of other people too. But there is some joyous stuff going on in this event too, Capricorn, which is basically saying to you also, don't be hung up about accepting you've got vulnerabilities. We all have. None of us is as tough as we might like to think. And in any situation, that can happen. You know, life can get in the way, can't it? You know, whether uh, something happens around property or an accident, an illness. If you do feel the need to share that you're not always feeling 100% strong, immediately you're being stronger. But the joy, Venus, the planet of gorgeousness, in the fifth house of glamour, very close, only about 7 degrees from Uranus, the planet which has been shaking things up around your social and romantic situation. That combination is exciting, and Venus is also linking fabulously well to Jupiter, the planet of fortune, in your sector of relating. If you're aligning to someone and it feels right, they are nurturing, they are caring, they've got space for you, they hold the space for you to speak and share, that relationship can just go from strength to strength. If you're not seeing that person at the moment, look out for someone who you have a simpatico with. Yes, fancying people is probably the most important thing because however much we like people, if there isn't that chemistry, unfortunately, it's hard to keep things alive. But if you do feel comfortable with someone, plus have that allure, then that's a fabulous thing too. Loot, part of fortune, eighth house, 13 degrees. Not bad. I mean, it's a bit broad and it's linked to Saturn, but the fourth house here, the eighth house, if you're doing something around the property speculation, that could be helpful to you. But remember, Pluto in the second house is going to shift the foundations of your world for some time. But if you are trying to get onto the property ladder or rent somewhere, this is a time when you may be very active and desirous of making that happen. But you are also asked to check in how the atmosphere feels if you have a choice, which I appreciate isn't always the case. I'm going to summarize those four areas shortly, but just to say, if you'd like to order your personal horoscopes, I've reduced the price. It's now 3 for 1. Why have I done that? Well, a lot of people are feeling the pinch. We know the world is extraordinarily complex, whichever side of the political debate people are on. The cost of living's gone up. That's one. Two, I'm really passionate about this and I want to make the charts more available. You'll get your natal life roadmap, but also your 12 months transit. That's free. And you'll get your draconic soul karmic chart too, free. So three for the price of one. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your Uranus 84-year cycle video, Capricorn, on the screen now, your April monthly forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, pleasure, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily horoscope, fire to your device each morning for your celestial pit stop with your early morning drink, please do that below too. So to summarize, it's all about how you feel. If you're hung up about feeling because you want to maintain a facade of capability and functionality, then this is your chance to shift it, even if it's a bit, even if inside you have your own worries and concerns. If it's not the way you've been raised to be more open, that's totally understandable. All of us can only go at the pace we can. And of course, it's also important to only open up to the right people. We do it to the wrong people, we can feel very exposed and then very vulnerable. But if there are things that have been painful for you that you haven't looked at, I think Chiron being in this new moon does encourage the idea of talking to someone, watching videos that can help you to understand your history, releasing any judgment about your perceived weakness. It doesn't exist. We're just all part of the same humble existence. We're basically animals with egos, humans, aren't we? We do have lots of instincts, but we like to think we're in control of things through our minds. We're not, not really, not as much as we think we are. So you're being asked to get in touch with the more atmospheric side of your life. So at work, if you are working somewhere that is really mean-spirited, look to change it. If you'd like to work from home, never a better new moon for that. If you'd like to start your own business from home, go for it. If you've got ideas to speculate, Venus and Jupiter, uh, Venus and Uranus in the fifth house, great to go for it. The two planets of fortune collaborating, brilliant for your love life if it feels right. If it doesn't feel right, you might find yourself considering the idea of breaking away and connecting with someone it does feel right with. Neat physical energy. I think if you are feeling very sensitive at the moment and you can't share that, it could drain you, to be honest. Finances on their own, Pluto's going to protect you over the years to come, but you may need to release something now in order to get something that's more appropriate. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Capricorn. Wishing you all the best for this Aries new moon. Take care and goodbye.